Well, Jim, obviously a disappointing result tonight. What do you put it down to?
Well, there's lots of aspects. You can go down to the incidents that led to the goal. You know, poor clearance. You know, whether you give the ball away at the other end through a wild shot or a poor cross or a foul or an offside, or whether you give it a slash clearance on the edge of the box. If you turn over possession in the wrong areas, you're going to leave the opposition an opportunity to attack you and score. So I thought we weren't great value for any more than the draw out of the game. I think they kept the shape tight throughout the second half, making sure that if they felt perhaps 2-2, a draw would be a reasonable result, and maybe they can nick a win, because unfortunately with our back four at the moment, there's always a chance you'll get an opportunity or a spill.
You must be, I mean, relieved to have got to 2-2 at the break. I mean, you give yourself a chance, but then, I mean, the winning goal is just horrible, isn't it?
Well, you know, you work in training on clearances. When players are tired and they slash at things, and what you can do, and you talk about experienced players. I think though, the last couple of days, and even into the York game, I always hate 6-0 wins. I think it hides so many aspects that are wrong. We had so many inadequacies in the way that we prepared for a game today, just revealed themselves. You know, we prepared last night with a team, and then you've got 4 lads who can't get to the game, on top of 3 players who were injured from Saturday. So we shuffled the pack last night in training. We had to shuffle the pack an hour to kick off. I think the lads did a reasonable job. Connor and Adam had to step in as full-backs instead of playing in front and back 4 and giving us protection and a counter-attacking threat. But like I said, there were some little positives there, but I think people only see the winning goal and the last 15 minutes, the fatigue, the poor choices, balls being played out of play, and they go home angry.
There was a debut tonight for Bohan Dixon, scored a goal as well. What did you make of his performance tonight, Joe?
Well, you can see his potential, and I think the goal highlighted his threat. I still think that he looks like he's not played games regularly. Unfortunately, like I said, we asked the lad who was probably going to come on and replace him at the turnaround at 8:30, because he couldn't get anywhere near the game. So with Harry Winter missing, you know, Sam and Harry didn't train, and Michael Clark didn't train yesterday, so they ruled themselves out and left us sort of looking at a couple of players like Adam Thomas, Bohan Dixon, a few players that we expected couldn't perhaps get through the 90 minutes, and because of the way that things went today, we kind of had to take Adam off because he got a dead leg. Jimmy was struggling with an injury. There was other lads who were perhaps playing with knocks and bits and pieces, and we just weren't strong enough and resilient to get results tonight.
Just to clarify, 4 players were delayed because of traffic up in the northwest.
Yeah, well, it was 5, but Ben, we all held the coach for Ben. Like this, I can't go into it because it looks like excuse making, and on my behalf, you know, the fans are going away angry. Lots of them are blaming me. I think it's my fault. All I can do is prepare the lads as well as I can, try and spend the club's money wisely, get the best players I can in. Hope that they work really hard and perform to their ability. I trust that they keep themselves fit, play when, you know, without injuries, and play with purpose, try to implement what we're doing. You know, so I'm not going to make excuses about the crash on the M6 and 2 players getting here and coming on at half time that perhaps would have started, and then 2 other players who couldn't make it. You know, we were looking forward to seeing Gary Stockport is looking great in training now. He's got over an illness, and Ben McKenna's over his injury, and to not have them on the benches was a disappointment, and because you felt we needed some spark in the second half when we were tiring.
Injuries obviously to Minihan, Clark and Winter. When do you expect to see them back?
Well, I think with Michael, I think it's been ruled out for a minimum of 4 or 5 weeks. Obviously his patella tendon went out of position. It sounds horrific if you say he's dislocated his knee, but the patella tendon are obviously flexed, and so he has to let everything settle down. We have to get a scan, make sure there's nothing, any other damage, because when things like that happen, there could be something underlying. But provided that there's no underlying damage, that it's just about recovery and strengthening. So it's a big loss, because I think we've seen that in their second goal, where I'm asking somebody else to be the central zone, and they don't deal with the first ball, and when the ball comes in, somebody in the central of the zone of the goal is allowed a free shot. So really disappointed with that. But again, that was the lad who normally does the central zone is on this M6, and we've asked somebody else to do the job who perhaps doesn't really understand the role. But Michael's a loss. 4 weeks hopefully. Semi in the hand. He's got a persistent groin problem, and I think he's tried to soldier on with it, and I've been aware that his performance has diminished a little bit, and I think that really I should have took a judgment call on Saturday not to play him. I think he's decided now that it is affecting his performance, and it's best to get it sorted. Again, we'll have a look at a scan at that. I think once the scan reveals that there's nothing major, he may have the confidence just to play through it and play through the pain. Harry Winter, he's another one that's been carrying all sorts of knocks. As a captain, he doesn't want to let the team down. He wants to continue playing, but like I said, these players are only of real good value to us at 100%, 95, 90%. Really fit, maybe with a little bit of fatigue, but you can't carry injuries when you're playing the likes of a full-time side like York and Telford away from home on back-to-back Saturdays and Tuesdays.
5 defeats at this stage of the season. Where does that leave you in the bigger picture?
Well, like I said, we're very disappointed. I mean, there's going to be all sorts of talk on Twitter and Facebook and message boards about what the club should do. We've seen, the extremes of football with what's happening with Frank de Boer. I think from our point of view there is an issue away from home. That's clear. I think we look like obviously we're missing a couple of leaders, like some of our better physical players, but we still look a little bit like we're not resilient and strong enough to be able to keep a clean sheet away from home. You can't expect to get 2 or 3 goals like we did at Leamington to win games. At home, our form's been all right. We look like we're a different team at home. We've got energy. We play with some purpose. Like I said, we really important we win Saturday, and then we've got some fixtures that perhaps are winnable if we perform well. We've got to build a confidence. It's going to be no easy solution, no quick solution. We just have to keep working hard, do things professional. Whether you're part-time or full-time, it's all about doing things professional. The right food, the right application, doing the right things on the pitch. It's all about being professional. And at the moment, there's aspects of our preparation that are undermining our ability to perform at our best. But we just have to accept that and perform to the best of our abilities within the constraints of what we have.
Jim, thanks very much for your time.
Oh, you're welcome.
Cheers.